Hey everybody, I'm here with my big kit in the studio today. I've never really gone through and walked through the different things that are going on with this kit and the situation. There are little things that are going on here and there, and I thought it might be fun to just take the time to do that. So this, of course, if you haven't guessed by the looks of it, this is my tribute to, homage to, my throwback to the legendary Ginger Baker and his drum kit when he was playing in the early days of Cream. They are vintage Ludwigs. Let's walk around, we'll see what's going on. First of all, over here, I do have two different sized bass drums like Ginger. This one over here is a 20-inch. This one over here is a 22, like he did. Now these are both 14 inches deep, as was appropriate for the time period. He cut his down to 11. I frankly didn't have the guts to cut these things down, these vintage drums. But they are, the majority of this kit is a 66 Ludwig. All of it is 1966 except for the 20-inch bass drum, that's a 69. Over here we've got, well, let's go back over here. So 16 by 16 inch floor tom, 14 by 14 floor tom, 9 by 13 rack tom, 8 by 12 rack tom. Again, just like Ginger was doing back in the days. So pretty faithful, I think, to his setup back in the early Cream days. But anyway, as 1966 Ludwigs, these are the hybrid mahogany poplar, mahogany shells, the thin shells. This one as a 69 has the, by then they were doing the maple hybrid shells. But in super good shape, I think, for their age. On the inside, you'll see down here, you know, the white resin coat interiors appropriate for the age. The 69 you'll see also has white interior, which is not appropriate for the age. By 69, I think by 67 they started going to the clear shells again, like they did before they were doing the white shells, the white interior shells. But I actually finished that one off in white just to kind of match the vibe of the rest of the drums. For a snare drum, I am playing, again, pretty appropriately enough, a Ludwig 6.5 by 14 LM402 Superphonic. This is a modern drum. This is not vintage, unfortunately. I wish I had a vintage one. Of course, back in the early Cream days, Ginger was playing a leady Broadway snare drum. He wasn't playing a Superphonic. He did switch though. I've seen pictures. Looks like he's playing an LM400, the 5 by 14 Superphonic, by at least I think the later days of Cream and then into Blind Faith, right after Cream. And I love these drums. I love the sound. I'll play them a little bit in a little bit. For heads, I've got Remo. Again, it's kind of throwback. These are the vintage fit Ambassador coated heads, which are really cool. If you're not familiar with these and you play vintage drums, these are the ones with like really thin collars so that they can fit, let's just say, vintage shells that aren't exactly as round as we would like them to be these days. So with that thinner collar, there's a little bit more wiggle room, literally, and they can get on the drum edges a little bit better. For cymbals, just to go through everything, got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Over here I have 15-inch Carope hi-hats. Again, just trying to get that vintagey, later sort of jazzy feel even. I've got a couple of 18-inch Avidus crash cymbals. These are modern, but again, have that like sort of manufactured patina look, or that vintage vibe and look. And then over here, this is legit patina. This thing is a 22-inch mid 50s Zildjian. You can see it's got that that open block stamp, appropriate for, I think it was 1954 to 59 they were using that particular stamp. with rivets, of course, like Ginge. And I actually like the sound of rivets, to be honest with you. Patinaed for days and days. Good, bad, and ugly. You got some oxidation there, unfortunately, but it still sounds good, and it's super aesthetic and awesome. And so just to kind of walk through some of the other little modifications I made to this kit. Obviously, I'm using a tom stand to hold the rack toms as opposed to holders on the bass drums like Ginger would have done. By the way, again, this 66 bass drum has the rail consolette, and then the 69 has the later bass drum mount. And even this one's actually even newer. The one that came with it was pretty messed up. And then you'll see too, got some modifications here over the years, over the 50-something years that these drums have been around. 60-something. Well, actually, I just realized, yeah, 1966, next year, 2026, these will be 60 years old. That's kind of cool. Just realized that right now. But anyway, got the, I have an SJC tom stand. This is my favorite tom stand ever made. They don't make them anymore. The SJC Foundation series. I love SJC drums. Play them a lot as well. And this is the best tom stand I have ever found. So if you can find one, I say try it out. It's got a flat base, which is kind of cool. You know, sort of period reminiscent. On the toms, I switched out the original Ludwig brackets for modern indie brackets, which I love too. Big fan of indie. By the way, no product placement or anything like that. Nobody's paying me for any of this stuff. I'm just telling you what I use and what I like. And these indie brackets I do like quite a bit, and they work well with the modern stand. Down here on the bass drums, I've got the OG, the original spurs on this 22-inch. On the 20 though, I did upgrade and also put indie spurs on this one. The original ones just weren't really cutting it. And this is the main bass drum on my right foot, so I really wanted to make sure it stayed put. And these indie spurs have served me well. Very cool. On the floor, I'm using Pearl hardware for cymbal stands. They're the flat style, again, just to kind of get a little bit of a retro vibe. Using a boom for the ride cymbal, which isn't very retro, but it is functional. And of course, I've got a cymbal holder here connected to the tom stand, which of course is not period correct, but again, is functional. Now, what's going on the floor is all kinds of other crazy stuff. Kind of pay no attention. I'm just testing some stuff out. For the most part, I play 2 Speed Kings when I'm playing this kit, again, just to kind of go for the retro vibe. Although, I don't know, I'm testing out. I brought my DW9000. This is a double pedal. I hooked it up. Just kind of testing things out. I don't know, I may switch out the Speed Kings after playing them for, I don't know, I've been playing them for about 5 years now, and I don't know, I'm feeling like a little bit of a change. For hi-hat stand, I've got, again, the Pearl. This is a flat stand, but I've got it all hooked up here to the bass drum for convenience, and clamped with a, I told you, there's all kinds of hardware. Atomic clamp, and this handy dandy thingamajig that they've got that clamps onto the bass drum. So when you've got, like, you know, double bass setup, it's very cool. You can get your hi-hat stand all nice and close in so that you're not reaching and things aren't out of control in terms of space, and you can see it's right there. So it's a good product, good setup. Got my trusty swirly gig drink holder for whatever that's worth. And there it is. That is my kit. It's my Ginger kit. You can see the silver sparkle is aged and kind of ginger ale-y colored at this point, but I do love the kit. And That's it. Oh, just in case you're wondering too, playing these wide open, no muffling inside. Again, just like Ginger did back in the day anyway. I did just recently switch to sort of the Prima muffled heads. I've got a, EMAD, Evans EMAD over here, and a Super Kick 2 over here. That's recent. I just literally changed that out just before I started playing today. I had a couple of Remo coated heads on there for again, vintage sound, vintage vibe, but I really wasn't pleased with the sound, so finally switched it out. No ports on the front. The resonant drum heads. I am a bane to sound guys everywhere, but hey, listen, again, we're going for the vibe. They weren't doing that back in the day, so neither do I. So anyway, there it is. In all its glory. And I will play a little bit. Let you guys hear how this thing sounds. So I'm going to play a little bit of the live version of Can't Find My Way Home, Blind Faith, of course, Ginger Baker on drums, the Hyde Park 1969 live version. I think that's just a little bit, it's a good song to just be able to hear a lot of the different sounds, and it's not too crazy and loud, so you get I think a decent idea of what these drums sound like. I am playing without anything in my ears. I'm not listening to anything, no backing sort of track. So I'm just doing it from memory. So so there's that. But if you can, sing along, feel free, or hum along, whatever. All right, let's do it. So that last bit at the end wasn't Can't Find My Way Home. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed. That's my kit, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.